All right, we will move forward with that. All right. Oh, hold on. All right, up next. No. He said no. Discuss and authorize the town manager to shift previously allocated New Hampshire state aid bridge funding from Stokes Road Bridge to Hall Road Bridge. James Danis, come on up, sir.
I'm gonna take advantage of Sean not being.
Oh, sorry. Put it in the middle.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's fine. I got a big thing to do.
Welcome again, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Shearson, can you pull up my PowerPoint?
Look at that.
It's not that many pages. Slow to load.
I did add a few pictures in
Wow.
there.
This will be some good education for people. I think a lot of people don't realize that there is a bridge on Hall Road. That
Yeah.
may go by so fast on Hall Road at times, they might not know that it is a bridge.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead,
let's
sir.
get everyone. All right. Okay, so my name is James Danis. I'm the Deputy Director of Public Works. And I'm here to talk about municipal bridge aid funding.
Hold up, Jane. Can we have the crowd stop talking? Can you take it out to the hallway, please? We can hear you up here. Please? Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
All right, so I'm here to talk about municipal bridge aid funding between Hall Road and Stokes Road. So, look at that, it works. Okay, so topics I'll go over tonight here is I want to just kind of briefly go over some of the municipal bridge aid funding, highest and best use for funding, and what we use it for. Go over the red list. We have 2 red list bridges in town, and we have funding for one of them, or at least we've been approved for funding for one of them. And that is actually Stokes Road, not Hall Road. I'm going to go over the bridge conditions of both of the bridges and their operational needs and how they apply to the town. And then I will kind of briefly talk about shifting the funds and why it's better to go for the Hall Road Bridge based on our needs. And then finally, I do want to go over just briefly the Mammoth and Rockingham Road intersection coordination and how that might affect Stokes Road and ultimately the Stokes Road Bridge. And I think I probably should have put one more bullet point up there to reduce the number of ums in my presentation.
Didn't notice.
All right, so going right into it is the Hall Road Bridge. Here's a locust map of the area. You can see Hall Road is up at the north end of town, and it kind of connects the old village to Harvey Road. Here's a zoom in of the area. You can see there's a big wetland complex that kind of goes on both sides of it. I zoomed into where the actual bridge is. Councilor Combs just mentioned that most people don't even know there's a bridge on Hall Road. And there it is, right there at that stream channel. A couple of arrows up there showing you northeast Mammoth Road and southwest to High Range and Harvey. All right, so Hall Road, just a couple quick little bullet points on it. It's very important east-west connection. It's got a significant amount of daily residential traffic. It's used widely by municipal services. The school transportation network uses it as well as emergency response connectivity in that north end of town. It sees roughly 2,000 cars a day at about 1980 AADT. All right, now going over to Stokes Road. In contrast, Stokes Road is a much smaller road. There's an isolated neighborhood. Here's your locus map, and now zooming into the aerial photography, you can kind of see where the bridge on Stokes Road is. Stokes Road Bridge, again, it's an isolated neighborhood. It's used for neighborhood traffic only, and in contrast, it is only 29, that's 29 trips a day, as opposed to 2,900. So, I mean, a factor of 100 between the two. All right, bridge condition of Hall Road. The bridge was built in 1974. It's posted at an E2. That means it can handle all loads, but it does exclude certified loads, really heavy stuff. But you know, it can do buses and fire engines, you know, as part of that posting.
Tractor trailers?
What's that?
Tractor trailers?
Yes.
Okay.
Just certified loads. Stuff that needs special permitting to drive on local roads would be excluded from this bridge.
Now, I know sometimes GPAs might pop up and say, take Hall Road for that driver. I know we may have signs that are put up for no trucks, but a lot of times they don't seem to follow it.
So typically when you have a permitted load, they actually map the route.
Okay.
And they look at bridge limitations, bridge height restrictions, neighborhood restrictions, turning movements, when you go in for a certified load permitting application. It's an actual permit to ride that route.
That's good to know for the public. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So, and again, it's a red list bridge. It's only red listed for the substructure, the part underneath the structure. That means its foundational support is failing, and it's really a function of scour and a foundational support below the abutments, just like it just said. So right there, you get a picture of the bridge, and zoomed in. Right at the water level right there, you can see the underside of the concrete at water level. You shouldn't be able to see that. That is a relatively shallow abutment on that bridge, which is not typical. And it actually sits on stilts, I-beams that go down to bedrock. And you know, again, there's 6 or 8 of them on each of the 2 abutments. Now, the roadway also here, as far as condition, is also failing at a regular rate, and I'll go over that in just a second. And then full bridge replacement at this location would be advisable only from the perspective that in order to address this issue, you basically would have to disassemble the bridge, and hey, while you're at it, you might as well replace the bridge. Pulling the deck off, pulling the guardrail off, getting your cofferdams in place. There's a tremendous amount of expense just to get to the abutment, so you might as well spend the money and replace the entire structure. All right, so here's what I was talking about a minute ago. Behind the abutments, you have continuous roadway failures. And you can see here the west approach and the east approach both have been repaired. You can't quite see the patches here, but within the patches, they also are starting to fail in addition to the cracks on the rest of the road at each one of the abutment approaches. All right, so here's a little diagram for you to look at. These are the abutments I was referring to that are kind of sitting on I-beam piles, stilts down to the bedrock. You get your stream channel in the middle and your road across the top. So that little gray oval there off to the right-hand side is where the scour is occurring at the base of the abutment. So when that scour occurs, the material under the bridge, you got a little arrow that just showed up there, and that comes out, and that shows you that where the exposure of that abutment was in that other picture I showed. So when that material disappears, guess what happens? The material from the road goes down. So here comes the continued sinking of the road, and the repairs are constant. It's not a static situation. It is a dynamic situation. All right, so now let's go over to Stokes Road Bridge. It's a much older bridge. It was built in 1930. It is posted. It's posted as a 3-ton weight limit. That is a small SU vehicle, basically not loaded.
Plow that road then?
What's that?
Do we plow that road or that section?
It is a public road, yes.
I guess I meant, do we plow it with that kind of weight limit?
Yes, I believe that road is plowed with a 1-ton, so it can easily handle the weight. So this bridge is actually red listed for 3 categories: substructure, superstructure, and deck. So the foundation, the abutments, and the road surface, the deck itself. The variety of things that are going wrong with this: we have some wing wall scour, there is concrete spalling, substandard bridge rail, deteriorated curb, by all accounts a much worse bridge than the Hall Road Bridge. Ironically, the road itself is actually in pretty good condition, but again, it's a very low traffic volume road. All right, so here's a couple of zoom in pictures here. There's our weight limit restriction. Yeah, substandard guardrail. You can kind of see again, similar to the roads, I look at guardrail a lot as well. Sorry. So there's no standard there. All right, so here's the concrete curb on. You can see is basically literally falling apart, and then you can also see in this picture how the bridge rail is actually attached to the structure, which is kind of a substandard situation just by itself. And you can kind of see underneath the bridge here, a picture just showed up, and you can kind of see how the spalling of the concrete is happening, and you can see exposed rebar in that last picture. All right, so jumping into bridge ratings. I've identified red list a few times. So what does that actually mean? It's a category of 4, a rating of 4, and it means poor. So the bridge categories, I believe, go up 1 through 10. And that's pretty low down on the list. So with that in mind, we've identified the Hall Road as a much higher priority, even considering the conditions of the bridge itself, from an infrastructure concern, which requires timely action. If Hall Road closes because the bridge fails, that will cause a world of hurt for the entire town, as opposed to Stokes Road, which has 2 avenues of approach and only eight homes that use that road. Funding. NHDOT Municipal State Aid Bridge. We have an estimate of the Hall Road Bridge at roughly $2 million. The town's 20% match on that would be $400,000. That includes engineering, study, construction, oversight, as well as permitting. The town currently has that money in existing state aid bridge block funding. That state aid bridge block funding can only be used for bridges. And again, we currently have that money, so there's no tax impact on this project. So again, the principal function for me sitting in front of you here tonight is the request that I be allowed to ask the state to shift the money from Stokes Road Bridge to the Hall Road Bridge. We've identified as, us as a community, we have a responsibility to spend wisely with the limited resources that we do have. So what's the highest and best use of the NHDOT funding that's provided to us? And, you take things into consideration like public safety, infrastructure resiliency, long-term transportation planning, and responsible use of local, state, and federal resources. So with that being said, I want to jump back to infrastructure resiliency. If that road closes, Hall Road, if Hall Road fails and it closes, the impact on emergency services, public works services, the residents, the detour route. If you can go back to the locust map, is fairly significant on Hall Road, and it has a fairly significant impact to the community on the north end of town. All right, so
Cost of the Stokes Bridge as well?
I do. It's in a separate letter. It's about 1.8. And by contrast, the Hall Road was at 2, and DOT will up the funding based on construction end estimates. All right. So the last thing I wanted.
Bang for our buck for only $200,000 more.
I apologize. What?
Better bang for our buck for only $200,000 more. You said it's 1.8 for Stokes and $2 million for Hall. Road. Yes.
Hall. Yes.
Right.
Is about 200,000 more. Yes.
Right. So better bang for our buck.
Certainly, when you consider the impact on the community, absolutely. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is the impact of the Mammoth Road Route 28 intersection project on Stokes Road itself. That project is in its infancy stages. We only just had a scoping meeting in November of 2025. They're actively moving forward with the next stages. So this diagram that's shown in this picture is pretty much all that we have thus far. But under the guise of this particular project, what will end up happening is the intersection will be reconfigured to a 90-degree approach. You can kind of see that in the yellow on that diagram. Next thing to happen is the cut-through road, Smith Lane, would actually be removed from existence, so that it's no longer a cut-through road.
Will that become a light?
That was the next point I was just going to make, is that the reconfiguration would also support a signal, and the Stokes Road southern entrance or eastern entrance, depending upon how you're looking at it, I think it's the southern entrance, would be looked at for reconfiguration and realignment to come into the actual signalized intersection that would be proposed. So you can see the realignment just kind of pops into the picture there. You can see what that might actually look like if Stokes Road was actually realigned. So the second piece of this project is they will look at the northern intersection, which currently has a pretty substandard approach. It's very steep, approaching Rockingham Road, and it's not entirely safe for traffic pulling out onto Rockingham Road, given the steepness and the speed of the traffic in that area. All right, so my recommendation, DPW's recommendation, is to reallocate the state aid bridge program funding from Stokes Road over to Hall Road. It provides a greater long-term public benefit and transportation utility. Stokes Road curb cuts, again, they're actively being assessed with the Mammoth Road intersection project. So we don't know the status of what's going to happen over at Stokes Road. There is, in fact, a world where the northern curb cut is closed by NHDOT over on Stokes Road. If that northern curb cut is closed, that bridge is no longer in use. All right. Again, the funding transfer, it's a prudent, responsible capital planning adjustment, but the most important thing to identify with Stokes Road itself is that Stokes Road will remain in the bridge program asset inventory. So it doesn't pull it off of the equation. So should funding come about and should that curb cut not be impacted with the intersection project, the opportunity may arise in the future to do something with that road. And further, if that bridge does get closed due to condition, still there's a second avenue of exit for that neighborhood until a solution can be brought into play. So again, not only do you have a much less smaller impact on the town, you have a alternate means of access if by chance that road were to happen to close. All right, so that's it for the gist of the presentation. Or is there anything that I can answer?
Jim,
Ed, I saw you first. Go ahead.
how long is Stokes Road coming out from the potential new intersection all the way to the furthest house before you get to the bridge?
I actually did not take that dimension. I don't know.
Okay. Just wondering in case in the future DOT decides to close that intersection of the northern part of Stokes Road and say, we're going to close that bridge isn't safe, we don't want to put money towards it, we're just going to close it off. I want to make sure, like, what is our distance, because we're supposed to have, I believe, is it 1,200 feet for a cul-de-sac to go in on a road. So I want to know, are we still following our same standards with the town?
Don't
Or not.
know. I don't know the answer as far as how
for fire and
Yep. We as far as that goes, again, they're in the infancy stages. We'll work that through with the DOT Right-of-Way Bureau, and try and work through some of the intricacies of our own ordinances to make sure that, and as much as possible, we can comply with our own ordinances.
And I guess the other piece of this is have the people on Stokes Road and Hall Road made aware that there might be funding for both, and we were going to be choosing one or not.
I did send out a neighborhood notification to the residents of Stokes Road in advance of this meeting to let them know that what was happening as far as me being here in front of the council and requesting that the funding being shifted. I also made point in that letter notification to identify that the intersection project was being done, curb cuts were being evaluated, and that the funding being shifted does not remove it from the bridge program. It just delays it, in essence.
Thank you.
Dan?
My only question is, if we don't do the bridge, I heard from the old timers from years ago saying, why don't we put a culvert in there? It'd be a lot cheaper than redoing that bridge on Stokes Road.
There's a
Or the amount
hydraulic
of traffic.
capacity with the stream channel that's there. I don't have those numbers. A culvert wouldn't work. It doesn't function in so much as a, I think what you might be referring to is a hydraulic equilibrium. So when you have stagnant water and you have a bridge that crosses from one spot to the other, it just, the whole function of that culvert, it's just to kind of rise and fall with the equilibrium. But in this case, we have moving water. You have water that's getting from point A to point B, so there's a hydraulic capacity, which is kind of defined by the culvert that goes under, or the structure that goes under 28 currently.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Do we have any further timing on the intersection?
I don't. I checked in with them. Ironically, I actually checked in on the Stonehenge intersection as well a couple of weeks back. Stonehenge is actively going through utility relocations before they can go any further. So some of the stuff you've seen is just in preparation for the utility relocation. So that has to happen before any of the roadway construction. But zipping back to this intersection, they're at their infancy stages in the planning, and they're kind of actively moving forward to
I'm just
that
glad that
next
they're
step.
finally moving forward. They've been talking about this for, I feel like, 20 years.
It's active, it's moving, so that's good
It's
news.
on the list for 2029 and 30 for construction, but
Yeah, we'll
means
see.
nothing.
We'll see.
Fortunately, yeah. I mean, realistically, whatever they say it's going to be, it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
We know that.
One more question on that intersection. If you can go back to the map there, Jim.
All right, let's see if I can do that.
Right there.
This one here?
Yeah, so the portion that goes south on 128 there, in the hashed off section,
Yep.
is that going to be going away as well?
That's correct. Yes. You can see that driveway. They would make a driveway accommodation in that hashed area. Similar thing to the storage center over on Smith Lane, where there's a driveway in that hash section that
Seems
would have
like
to make an accommodation to.
That driveway, that seems like a dangerous location for them. I see where they're putting that there, that little square there.
I
sounds
can
more
see that as
dangerous.
well. That's just one of those things that would get vetted well in advance of
Yeah.
a final plan.
And that should be more like Smith should be their own driveway. And that you only access it from Mammoth Road. But that's just my opinion. For ease of access and safety of people in and out of there.
Good point.
Any other questions for James? All right, bring it back to us. What do we want to do?
I think it makes sense for the overall community for Hall Road to move forward, now knowing the concerns of the bridge, with how many people go on it every day, and with the multiple traffic volume that it is. And as well, that bridge services the aquifer of that streamway there, and we can't let that fail. The Cohos Brook there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'll move that the Londonderry Town Council hereby authorize the town manager to request the reallocation of the municipal bridge aid funding from Stokes Road Bridge to Hall Road Bridge.
Have a motion from Sean.
Second.
Second from Ted. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes the affirmative, 5-0. Thank you for your
All right, thank you
presentation.
very much.
Appreciate it.